Do you think we will ever colonize other worlds? Last dream I had? That was just that. Welcome to Shut Eye Theater, and I had a crazy dream where I was part of the first colonists to go to a different world. You see, we got all ready, got on the ship, and blasted off. Now, we still weren't to the best technology of travel, so I went into hypersleep. Upon arrival, I got to see the new world. Now, this world didn't have a lot of mountains, not even a lot of rivers, but it was a very green planet. A lot of plants everywhere. And it's a very promising planet to develop a new civilization on. And we started to build. Little did we know this planet was habited. That surprised us. You see, as we traveled, we had scientists that would wake up periodically to double check on the planet. You know, light takes a long time to get to Earth. And when that light gets to us, we don't see modern day of that planet. So as we got closer, we kept checking to make sure that it was vacant. And as far as we could tell, it was, until we started building. You see, when we started building, we were starting to be attacked by ghosts or something else. You see, they would show up out of nowhere. Now, they look like they're straight out of the Lord of the Rings. Elves with pointy ears, blonde hair kind of look, attacking us with swords and arrows. Now, they would keep popping up left and right. But every time we went back to attack them, we couldn't get a swing even close to them. Every time we tried to use any of our advanced weapons, they seemed to anticipate where we were going to shoot, until all of a sudden we would hit one, but it wouldn't hit them. It would go through them, and then they'd fade, as if disappearing into mist every time. What's going on? Who are these beings that seem to be able to hurt us, but every time we get close to hurting them, they fade as if just mist on the wind? Well, I got to meet one a little bit closer. You see, the one I met, he was curious about us. We looked just like beings from their lore. And they even spoke forms of languages from Earth. How is this possible? They're in a totally different galaxy, totally different solar system. How could they speak languages from Earth? Well, that's the funny thing. They're not from Earth, but those who settled the planet and created them were from Earth. Created them, you say? Who could have done that? Well, the very beings that in our own ancient lore transcended as well, went into a different dimension, I guess you could say, that were responsible for the building of pyramids. Those great Egyptian gods, I guess you'd say, that, according to lore, when they were tired of this planet, left into the next realm. Well, they just went to a different world, and they had the ability to go into a slightly different dimensional phase. Still part of our universe, but not exactly. They took quite a few people from Earth with them to help build their civilization. And as they built, they decided to create new life that had the same ability to phase as they did, and eventually doing the same that they did on Earth, leaving and phasing on to the next stage of whatever those existence of their beings were, leaving these new creatures and the few humans behind that just eventually faded into lore, myth, and legends. And that got this individual that I met craving to know, how did they create this world? How did they create his people? And he wanted that power. He wanted it more than anything in the world. So he started attacking us ferociously, thinking we would have the answer to solving the mystery of his creation, giving him the power to not only take over his own people, but to take over us, take over Earth, and to maybe even create a new world for himself. And I learned during this process that the reason we couldn't attack them is exactly what I've said earlier, phase. they phased into slightly just different dimension where they could see us, but we could not see or touch them. They had the ability to phase out just enough into our existence to attack us. But as soon as the tiring effort it is to phase into our reality got too straining for them, they would let it go, and at that point we couldn't hurt them anymore. And that's why their attacks were swift, quick, and then they faded into the mist, because then they're fading back into where they exist. Unfortunately, not to the knowledge of this individual I met, we didn't have his answers. His own people only had lore and legends and ancient burial sites that he went and dug up that had no extensive answers either. Got frustrated and soon attacked everyone equally, trying to rule with what little power he thought he could obtain, thinking he was more powerful than us and more powerful than his own people because he was on a quest to gain more power, while his people eventually partnered with us to help take down him. So fighting together side by side, working to find him, some phasing into our existence to let us know where he was as scouts, so that we could corner him, surround him, even though we couldn't see him, waiting until he dared to try and attack us, so that we could take him down with the help of his friends unseen to us, who, in their own phase, could hurt him, even when he was phased. And there we were able to finally subdue him, find out this dastardly plan of his, only to find out for himself that he will never gain the power he wanted, unless he found a way to follow those that have already left millennia ago. And that's where I roughly woke up with this one. This was a very intriguing dream, dealing with space travel and even some myths of our own world that we still haven't even figured out. How were the pyramids created? We know how they were roughly shaped. We know a lot about them, except how they were built. We have a lot of theories, but no theories that are concrete enough to really know. How did they build it so mathematically accurate to where not even a single stone is misplaced by even a half an inch? Because if one stone was misplaced by half an inch, the pyramid would not stand. How are they pointing magnetically north, every single one of them? It's intriguing, and I think my brain grasped onto some of the lore and legends of Egypt. Granted, I don't know those lores and legends fully, so those of you that know it better than I can leave in the comments where I went wrong with this dream. But it was a dream. I don't have control of it. So let me know how I did. How close was I to some of that lore of Egyptian mythology? And let me know if you've ever had dreams dealing with myths of our world, mixed in with a little bit of craziness of your own dreams. In the comments, let me know. And until next time, sweet dreams.